Alright, so this seems relatively simple. All you have to do is take a really sad scene, and get some really sad music, and then play that really sad music over the really sad scene. And then you have the perfect Pixar composition to make your audience cry like babies. Right? Oh, nothing is ever that simple. If you actually want to make people cry, you have to get happy music and play that over your sad scene. Or at the very least have the music contrast what's going on in the scene. And Pixar has mastered doing this. Okay, so first we have to establish what makes music sound happy and sad. Alright, now a lot of people out there just gonna be like, oh, just make the sad music in minor and the happy music in major. And those people are wrong. See, there's some elements of music that are universal across all humans. Like, if I play a really low sound, you're gonna instinctively assume that it came from something big and intimidating. And if I play a really high sound, you're gonna assume it came from something small, because that's how physics works. So all the big nasty predators are gonna make lower sounds, and all the puppies are gonna squeak. And that's kind of the joke behind Alpha and Up. Big scary dog, funny squeaky voice. But associating major and minor scales and key signatures with happiness and sadness is something that most people have actually developed over time through culture. Yes, if you lived in Europe or in European colonies throughout most of history and listened to European music, then yeah, you're gonna have this association, but it's not built into the human condition. See, here's an example. I'm gonna play this piece of music for you, and you've got to guess the context. What is this piece trying to convey? This piece is actually a lullaby recorded in 1950 by a grandmother named Lanaiditsa from the Zuni nation. It's kind of far away from Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or that Brahms lullaby. And if you remember the Zuni nation in the 19th century, how might you react to listening to these European pieces? Do they sound like lullabies to you? Either way, you can't just make music sound sad and hope that everybody catches your drift. That's just lazy. What media composers do to make their music more universal and effective is they develop themes, or pieces of music that represent a certain character or action, to then influence the development of the story. Pixar does this really well. Now remember, if we want to play with people's emotions, you want to have a conflicting message between what they hear and what they see. So let's take Monsters Incorporated for example. Here in this scene, Sully is putting Boo to bed, and once she falls asleep, you kind of see Sully have this little moment with Boo, and you hear this. And they dot this theme all over the movie, but the real questions are how, where, and why. Well, the next time you hear this theme is after Sully demonstrates a good scare in the simulator, but accidentally scares Boo in the crossfire. Now this is in stark contrast to how we first heard the theme. The first time we heard this theme, everything was really peaceful. In fact, Sully had just gone out of his way to remind Boo that she wasn't going to get scared. Now the theme comes back after Sully scares Boo, and he has to repair that relationship. See, this isn't Boo's theme or Sully's theme, this is a theme that represents the relationship between these two. And the next time you hear is when Sully has to put Boo back in her door, right before it's going to get shredded. See, here Sully thinks this is the last time he's going to see Boo, and that theme evokes memories of Sully and Boo when he first realized that he didn't have to be afraid of her, and when she realized that she didn't have to really be afraid of him. That simple little theme celebrates and reminds the audience of Sully and Boo's relationship, just as it's coming to an end. And finally, you get that theme one last time, just at the end of the movie, when Mike puts the door back together and Sully gets to see Boo again.
Ooh. Kitty.
Awesome job. So another great example of Pixar confusing your heartstrings is in Up. Now I know what a lot of you are going to say, that I'm just going for the easy target because Up started with that super sad sequence, but let's actually look at that. So this film is scored by a guy called Michael Giacchino, and in his interview specifically about this movie, he talks about how he likes all his movies to kind of have one musical identity, and for Up specifically, he talks about like this one chord.
And I try and search for, okay, if I can sum up my feeling in one chord, what's that going to be? And for the film here, it was this. That chord right there, you know, I mean, basically, it's not F, it's not C, it's almost both. It's, you know, an F major seventh. What it has is the tinge of sadness to it. I don't know, there's something about that chord that is very, it kind of reaches back.
So, let's get back to that funeral scene. Listen to what happens to that main theme during the funeral scene. Solo piano. Now this isn't the only time we hear the theme in solo piano. The first time we actually hear it is when Ellie gives Fredrickson the Ellie badge. And then again when Ellie is sitting by herself after she finds out she can't have kids and Fredrickson reminds her of her adventure book. Now, Giacchino calls this the Ellie theme. And so by the funeral scene, Ellie's theme has already been established in the listener's mind, and it kind of encapsulates her sense of adventure and her presence in Fredrickson's life. So again, the next time this theme comes up is when Fredrickson is coming back from court and is getting ready to leave his home, and he finds Ellie's book, and she inspires him for adventure. Again, Ellie's theme really represents the sense of adventure that she gave Fredrickson. And then the theme kind of fades away for the rest of the movie, except for two critical points. The first is when Fredrickson seems to have given up. He's put his house on Paradise Falls, but notices that Ellie has been filling up her adventure book with all of the things they did throughout their lives together. And you hear that theme again when Fredrickson is passing on the Ellie badge to Russell. Both times evoke that sense of adventure that Ellie gave Fredrickson, and really serves to remind the audience that maybe Ellie might not have been in the house or the book, but had never really left Fredrickson's side. And even if you don't want to look at the theming that deeply, you still have the theme from the sad funeral being played over Fredrickson looking over how happy Ellie's life was, and over Russell's badge ceremony. Again, something that was supposed to be a happy occasion. Now, how else has Pixar done this? Well, I'd be hard-pressed if I didn't talk about the end to Toy Story 3. God, I can't watch the end without crying. Every single time. Just before the music begins in this scene, and dotted throughout, they make small references to You Got a Friend in Me from the original Toy Story. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say they threw in some of Jesse's When Somebody Loved Me as well. But that just might be me. I don't think I really have to explain this one. I'm not sure I could put it into words. Alright, but enough talk. Let's do one ourselves. Let's take a scene that tried to be super emotional, but maybe wasn't that effective from a lack of musical information. And I got one right here for you. This scene from Big Hero 6, when Baymax is showing Hero all those recordings of Tadashi in his workshop. So this scene has some music in it, but it's kind of subtle, and it's nothing that was really established anywhere in the movie. I mean, even if it was, it's so hidden that it wouldn't really be able to remind a first-time watcher of any of the previous scenes from the movie. So for the most part, it looks like the director decided to go with a dialogue-heavy scene, and just have the music be mostly incidental. Which is weird considering how prevalent the main theme is in Big Hero 6. Either way, I feel like this scene was a huge missed opportunity. So we're going to try and make it a little better. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to get an established musical theme that directly contrasts what's going on in the scene. And what's going on in the scene? Hero's being reminded of his dead brother. So what if we can scan the music catalogs and find a theme from a film that celebrates a family bond, and play that over the top? And I found one. Nemo's Egg from Finding Nemo. So when you first hear this piece, Nemo's mom and siblings all just died to an evil fish, and Marlin was left alone with an egg that got a little messed up. And then the theme plays. So this theme is encoded to represent not just the bond between Marlin and Nemo, father and son, but it also represents this trauma bond that the two have, that no matter what, these two have to stick together because they're all they have in the world. That's some pretty intense stuff, way more relatable than Liam Neeson. And every time this theme comes back, Marlin and Nemo are in some way interacting with each other. First, when Marlin has to save Dory from the jellyfish, he tries to stay awake, but his last conscious words are Nemo, just as the camera fades to Nemo talking about his dad to Gil. Then again when Nigel starts telling Nemo about all the adventures that Marlin's gone through just to try and find and save Nemo. Then again when Marlin is telling Dory that he promised Nemo that he would be safe and nothing would happen to him. Then again after the trio save the school of fish from being turned into gas station sushi. And then finally, at the very end of the movie, when Nemo goes to his very first day of OSHA-approved school and he briefly leaves his class to give his dad one last hug. If this theme isn't about family bonding, then I don't know what is. Alright. So let's take that theme and play it over the scene where Baymax is trying to reunite Hero with his brother.
Tadashi's gone.
Tadashi is here.
No, he's not here.
Tadashi is here.
Oh, I think that worked. The whole idea is that we shocked our audience emotionally. Yes, Hero and his brother are reunited, and the theme encapsulates that, but they aren't really together because his brother liked his professor a little too much. And it's that mixture of confusing feelings that make people cry. And before he starts saying, oh, well, Finding Nemo just had a better soundtrack, that's irrelevant. It's all about how the music was used. They could have established a friend or family theme in Big Hero 6 when the two brothers are horsing around in their room, or when Tadashi and his friends are all congratulating Hero on his presentation, or they could have even established a theme during the funeral montage, and then brought that back when Baymax is playing the recordings, even over the dialogue. Just something that would have established a musical relationship between Hiro and his brother. At least it would have been something.